Hello once again to all my students of class 12. Even today I will be discussing about sociology, and we have started with the fourth unit, okay, and that is the social inequalities. And we had discussed about the social inequalities. Under the social inequalities, we have discussed about the scheduled tribe, scheduled caste, the other backward classes and all, right? And we also discussed about why were they discriminated, okay, the privileges that has been given by the government, okay, and along with that, okay, we also discussed about some of the measures, okay, how they have performed so far. Now, today I would like to discuss a little bit about the minorities, okay, minorities, M-I-N-O-R-I-T-I-E-S, minorities. Now, who are these minorities here, okay? Minorities, okay, can be said that it can be a group of people who have small population, or it can be a small group of people, okay, living in a certain country, living in a particular country, okay, and those people are called as minorities, okay. Now, it can be differentiated based on race, okay. In India, we have Dravidian race, Mongolian race, Aryan race, right? So there are different races in India. And based on the different races, okay, there are some racial group of people who are quite minority in number. First. The second is that even the culture, okay, even the religious group of people, even, there can be differences based on sex also, okay. So in that particular way, okay, the groups has been divided, and those people who are minority in number, who are lesser in number, who have a very small group of people in a country are called as minorities, okay, in our country. Now, the Constitution of India does not define, okay, the term minorities here, but the Supreme Court and the High Court do so, okay. They define the minorities, saying that the basis of population, okay, it says that, okay, define them the basis of population, okay, size, thus which does not constitute, okay, the size of population which does not constitute more than 50%, are called as minorities, okay. So those group of people, or the size of population, okay, which does not constitute 50% of the population in our country, okay, is called as minorities. So Christians, we are like very few in number, right? Even the Muslims also in India compared to Hindus are less than 50%. Sikh, okay, or even the Buddhists, the Jains, the Parsis, right? So all this group of people fall under the category of minorities. So if we are Christians, okay, we also fall under the category of minorities. Why? Because the population of a country, the population of the Christians are less than 50%, right, of the total population of India. But Hindus are more than 50%. That is the reason why they cannot be called as the minorities in our country, okay. That is what it means here. Now, here it says that, okay, the Constitution of India considers, okay, two types of minorities. In our Constitution of India, okay, it considers two types of minorities. Who are they? The first is linguistic, L-I-N-G-U-I-S-T-I-C, linguistic minority, and the next is the religious, okay, R-E-L-I-G-I-O-U-S, okay, the linguistic and the religious minority group of people is what we see in India according to the Constitution of India. Now, there are some languages, okay, which are spoken by a very few group of people, or the religious practices like we have mentioned, okay, which is like practiced by a few group of people. And under that category, okay, comes the minorities in India, okay. So linguistic minorities and religious minorities are two different groups of people, or two different groups of minorities which we see in India. That is what it means here. Now, here after the reorganization, here it says that population of Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Jains and Parsis falls under the category of religious minorities. Why? Because they are spoken, they are practiced by less than 50% of the total population, right? The next is, there are some states which has been reorganized. When we got our independence, there are some states which were formed based on the language that the particular group of people spoke. And that is the reason why, that is one of the reasons why, there were different linguistics group of people, and it also says that, linguistics minorities are those communities whose mother tongue differs from the state language, Now, there is a certain word called as state language, Now, what is this state language here? The state, for example, the state of Nagaland has said that, it's saying that, English is the official language of Nagaland, where the documentation and everything, all the paperwork and everything will be made, will be written in English only, Now, what happened is that, there are some, this language has been adopted by the government of Nagaland to be the state language, Now, the other dialect, the other languages, especially those spoken by a few group of people, comes under the linguistic group, which means the language which is not considered as state languages and the other languages are called as the linguistic minority, So, those language which is spoken by a majority group of people will never come under the minority or linguistic minority. Why? What is the reason? It's all because of the language of that particular state, Why? Because the majority languages will be considered as the state language, and that is the reason why it does not come under the ambit of linguistic minorities. Only those which does not belong to the category of said language comes under the linguistic minority, So, there are some problems, which has come up because of these minorities, maybe because the majority group of people try to dominate over the minority group of people, and that is where the clashes starts, that is when, the clashes begins, or the majority group of people try to enforce to practice the majority's, rituals, customs, or, all those practices, which is not been practiced by the minorities, that is when the clashes start. And that is the reason why, in order to prevent all those things, the government has come up with some provisions. Now, the most serious problems of minorities are protection of their identity. Now what happens is that, a minority group of people has, for those people, protecting their own culture, protecting their own identity has become very difficult for this group of people. Now, the next is, even for the linguistic group of people, it has become very difficult to protect their own language and all. Why? Because the minority group of people speaks those languages, and people want to learn more about the language which has been spoken by the majority population, majority group of people. Discrimination is also based on social, economic and political affairs, Political affairs in a sense, for example, if there is a group of people who wants to contest the election, but the population is very low, If the population is very low, what happens is that the people would find it very difficult in order to compete with those people who have a large amount of population, and that is where they will fail. And that is the reason why, political affairs, discrimination based on political affairs might occur among the minorities. Social, it may be based on your color, people may judge you, or maybe based on your caste, people may judge you and you may be discriminated also. Or economic, like minority based economies, or some minority group of people start some business where the majority group of people might not give much interest to those people. Or the job opportunities, job opportunities are given mostly to the majority, for example, Now what happened is that particular job, if it's been given mostly to the majority group of people, the minority will feel discriminated. So there are certain problems which arise because of this issue of minorities among the people. Now, the government of India has come up with some constitutional provisions, in order to look after this problems which has been faced by the minorities here. Here, the article number 29, first one, okay, close one, okay, it says that, okay, right to the minorities to preserve their own languages. Rights has been given. We have all the right in order to preserve our language and also, our culture, okay. So we have been given the freedom in order to practice, in order to preserve our own culture. And it also prohibits the majority group of people in enforcing the minority to practice their religion or, their culture or their religion as well, okay. So the state does not allow the majority group of people, okay. For example, in a particular place, okay, a religion, for example, the Christians, okay, are more in number, okay, in town A, okay, and minority are the Muslims. Now what happened is that, what does the constitution do here? The constitution does not allow the Christians to force the Muslims, okay, to practice the religious practices, okay, to practice the religious practices of Christians towards the Muslims. The government does not allow when a Christian is forcing a Muslim, in order to practice the rituals. It does not allow doing that, okay. That is what it means here. So that is the first provision which has been given through our constitution. Article 330 clause 1, okay, it also says that, okay, the minority group of people, okay, can also administer and start educational institutions, okay, so that, of their own choice, so that their culture and their religious, religion, or the religious practices may not decrease or diminish, okay, in the society, okay. It also says that the state also give grants, okay, means some funds to the minority group of people, and this kind of funds or aid should not be prohibited by the state, okay. Such kind of action will be considered as illegal if the state is not giving the funds or the grants to the minorities. Such kind of actions cannot be tolerated by the government. That is what it means here. The next is about Article 350 clause A. It says that to provide adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue. What happens is that when a minority group of people comes to the school and that particular child does not know how to speak in English, okay, what happens is that the Constitution of India has given right to the teachers in order to instruct those students in their own mother tongue. That is what it means here, okay. In the primary level of education, means when the child is till the class 1 and class 2, okay, he can give instructions, or he can teach that particular student, giving some instructions, few instructions in your own dialect. That is what it means here. Now, the next one is Article 350B. What does it say here? Here it says that, it can appoint a special officer, okay, for the minorities in order to look after the welfare of the minority group, whether they are getting the grant in aid, whether they are being discriminated or not, okay. That is what they study here, okay, under Article 350B. The next is Article 15 clause 1. What does it say here? There should be no discrimination based on religion, race, okay, caste, sex, or even place of birth. They cannot say that, you should not come to this place because you are a untouchable, you are an Harijan, or we cannot say that you belong to such community, so you cannot come and mingle along with me. No, such kind of discrimination is prohibited by the government. That is what it means here, okay. That is the second, that is in fifth provision. The sixth provision is Article 16 clause 2. What does it say here? Equal opportunity, okay, equal opportunity in matters of public employment when it comes to central jobs and also for public sector employment, okay. Equal opportunities should be given, it should be fair. That is what it means here. Your selection should not be based on your caste. Your selection should not be based on your gender. Your selection should not be based on your race, okay, or your stature and your features, right? What happens is that such kind of discrimination should not be made, okay. Yes, there can be some criteria or categories. For example, in an army, there is a certain height which you have to reach, right? So in the same way, such categories can be left aside. But other than that, okay, based on your caste, based on your color of your skin, you cannot be discriminated for that particular public job, okay, or public opportunity, okay, public employment. That is what it means here. Now, in order to look after the welfare of all the people here, what did he do? In the year 1978, okay, 1978, it's in your page number 51, okay, page number 51, the second paragraph, okay, that particular word has been given, Minorities Commission, okay, Minorities Commission has been set up in the year 1978. Kindly mark that particular line. And this body has also been replaced by National Commission for Minorities in the year 1993. I repeat again, National Commission for Minorities in the year 1993. It came into being. Why? In order to look after the welfare of the people. That is what it means here. Now, along with that, okay, we can also see that there are certain bodies which has been developed. The National Minorities Development and Finance Corporation has been set up in order to encourage the minorities for self-employment, in order to start your own business, or in order to start your own office, okay, in order to earn and deliberate for oneself, okay, self-employment, in order to employ yourself, okay. What happened is that the government has come up with an idea called as National Minorities Development, and also Finance Corporation has been set up by the government of India. So when we look into our bigger picture of our country, okay, though the government might be giving a lot of schemes and protections and all, yet we can see that there are some fundamentalist group of people who are still discriminating the minority group of people. They want to establish their own kingdom. They want to establish their own rule in a country, and that is the reason why there's still conflict going on, which has been originated since the time of independence and also before the time of our independence in our country. Okay, the next topic is about the women. Okay, the status of women. Here, this group of people has also been discriminated. This group of gender has been discriminated since time immemorial. Okay, so this kind of discriminations can be seen in a society, and that is the reason why we know the scholars call them as the weaker sections of the population. Okay, weaker sections of the population. So this group of people are the weaker section group of people, and we can find a lot of impositions which were imposed on those group of people, right? The women, for example, dowry has been practiced, and also sati was practiced, right? It was only in the year 1829 which was abolished by Lord William Bentinck, right? With some Indian freedom fighters, okay, who wanted to bring some social reforms to the country, right? So, when we look into our Indian scenario, okay, the women in our country has been discriminated for a long period of time, and thus we call them as the weaker sections of the population, okay? Why? Because the social status is lower than the social status of men, Even today, when it comes to the decision making of a village council or a panchayat, okay, the decision of the male comes, more in dominion compared to that of the women, and that is the reason why, okay, women has been discriminated for a long period of time. So when we look into the ancient society, ancient history, even in the medieval and also in the modern, okay, there are some sense of discrimination which has been there among the women. So for that particular topic, okay, we will be discussing in the next class, okay, why the women were discriminated and in up to which extreme the women has been discriminated, okay, whether they are given any rights in order to level up with in the social status in the society or not. We will be discussing about those topics in the next class. Thank you so much.